The creative process is about moving from idea to actually making an artwork. In this lesson, the goal is to become familiar with what the creative process is and how to work through it. At this point, before we really begin our investigation, I want you to think about 4 questions. The first is, what do you think the creative process is? Second, when you are given a problem, how do you go about finding a solution? What are the steps that you take to develop a solution? Illustrate this with a flowchart or other visual aid. Third, what do you think is more important, the process or the end product? What reasons would you give to support your position? Where do you think most of your learning happens in your creative process? Is it during the idea development stage, during the exploration stage, or in the actual making stage? Pause the video here and take a couple of moments to reflect on these 4 questions before moving on. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe why creativity is important and how to foster its growth. Identify the various stages of the creative process. Identify strategies to help you work through the creative process, and explain the importance of documenting your creative thinking in a sketchbook. 2 big concepts for creativity are from Eric Liu and Edwin Land. First, Eric Liu in the book Imagination First, published in 2009, states that creativity is part of a flow between one's imaginative capabilities, their ability to create based on their imagination, and then the quality of their creation in terms of how innovative it is. Also, it's important to recognize that an essential aspect of creativity is not being afraid to fail. It is during our mistakes and reflecting on those mistakes that we understand how we are moving through the creative process and better improving ourselves. So, what are some of the qualities of creative thinking? We're going to be investigating 4. The first is fluency, which refers to the number of ideas that you can come up with. Here, it is important that you are developing more ideas, the quantity of your ideas, over the quality of the ideas. There are no wrong answers. There are various strategies that can help you develop your ideas, such as brainstorming, mind mapping, asking yourself what-if questions, writing down rules that define a particular problem, identifying your own gaps in your knowledge, and thinking about how different people would view the problem from their own perspectives. Fluency, again, is about developing the number of ideas, not necessarily the quality. As you develop your flexibility, you're figuring out different ways of representing your ideas. You're distilling the brainstorming process. You're funneling it down in order to go from the vast number of ideas and identifying the quality ideas. Just like your first idea, your first sketch for what your work is going to look like may not necessarily be your best. So during this stage, what you should be thinking about is sketching a variety of different ideas that could represent what you have come up with in your brainstorming. You should be gathering lots of visual research in order to help you draw your work more effectively, looking at other artists' work, taking somebody else's idea and borrowing it and developing it, and most importantly, you should be talking to different people about what it is that you're trying to accomplish. The third concept is that of originality. Now, this is a very mysterious word in postmodern culture, because on one hand, we in the postmodern era believe that there is no such thing as originality anymore, that everything that could have been invented or discovered kind of already has been. And what originality is in postmodernism is the idea that it's about bringing things that already exist together in unique and novel ways. Right? The idea here is that we're discovering something new about something that already exists. Lastly, we have the idea of elaboration. The big idea here is about detail. Right? Elaboration is about taking your work as far as it can go, not settling for mediocrity. Your work will demonstrate elaboration when you are effectively detailing your work, adding to the visual impact of what it is that you are creating. To elaborate your work, consider knowing your subject really well, research if necessary, careful looking at visual research, really thinking through your composition, and asking for feedback and using it. Having success in developing your creativity is really important, and here are some strategies. 1. Ask questions. Make sure you understand the visual challenge. Number 2. Find a way of connecting with the work that you're trying to create. 3. Brainstorm a lot. Don't settle for the first couple of ideas. Extend your thinking as far as it can go. Number 4. Make sure that you know something about the subject matter of your artwork. Right? You may need to do research or ask questions in order to clarify your understanding. Play with different ideas and media. Sketch, doodle, draw. Look at other work. Conduct visual research. Refine what your work should look like before you start the final piece. Be proud of what you produce. It's meant to be seen by other people. Ask yourself a lot of questions along the way. Ask someone else a lot of questions along the way as well. Finding different perspectives is essential. And most importantly, is you need to be willing to make mistakes. You do not need to strive for perfection the first time through. Make mistakes, learn, and then apply your learning from those mistakes to your next piece.